Hey guys! So today I am super excited to announce that the rollback issue is finally fixed. That's right, it's finally fixed. We've transferred everything over to a new world file. This world file is on the same map as our previous map in the sense that the seed is exactly the same. This means that the biomes are exactly the same, and we've even gone to the extent of transferring all the builds of each and every active town who requested to be transferred over, as well as all the private properties and all the residences owned by people who have requested that they be transferred to the new map. All of that has been transferred over. So we now have a fresh map with all the good builds that we're used to having, with all the good towns we're used to having, all the data we've had, everything else, nothing has been lost but the rollback issue. The rollback issue is gone. You can kiss it goodbye. We've now done 35 tests to make sure that this rollback issue cannot be produced in the new world. It can't. In 35 tests, 35 restarts, not a single rollback has been observed, despite that we have been adding to the map and building all day long. Not a single rollback was observed in 35 tests. So anyway, so I'm confident that the problem is now fixed. You can actually see it for yourself. I'll show you real quick here. So I just did save all. As you can see, it instantly comes up with saved the world. In our previous world file, it would not do that. It would just say saving, and it would never finish saving. That's because it was corrupted and it couldn't finish saving. And that's what the problem was. So anyway, I'm not only pleased to tell you that the problem is fixed, but I'm also pleased to tell you that we can now ensure, now that we understand the problem, we know what caused the problem, and we know how to test for the problem, we can now ensure that the problem will never, ever, ever, ever happen again. What we've done is we've put together a foolproof plan to ensure that it will never happen again under any circumstance. This plan consists of three things. The first is this. The first is that we now have a plugin installed that will automatically create a backup of our world every 3 days. And it will replace, it'll delete the older backups after so long so as not to fill up our hard drive unnecessarily. But anyway, this plugin will keep up to 15 days worth of backups. That's 5 total backups, to ensure that if we ever run into a corrupt world, we have backups going back a full 2 weeks if necessary. That should be good. So that's the first thing. But the second thing is this. We know what caused the corruption. The corruption occurred when we upgraded our SSDs back in late May. Now, anytime you make a big transfer from one set of disks to another one, there's a slim but very possible chance that the files you're transferring could get corrupted and not work anymore. That's what happened here. If you remember, this issue began right after we had upgraded the SSDs. That's when it began, and that's what caused the files... Hold on here. Sorry about that. That's what caused the files to corrupt. And so we've now made a new policy that anytime we make a big transfer like that, going forward, we're going to make 6 backups. We're actually going to plan it days in advance, and we're going to make 6 different backups from 2 different computers taken at 6 different points in time. This will guarantee that should there be any corruption caused by the transfer, we have backup folders that we can use so that we'll still have a recent but good world file. Not only that, but we've now got the server set up in such a way that I don't think we'll ever need to make such a large transfer for a very, very long time. Early on, these transfers were more common than they'll be in the future because there was a lot of different things that we had to tweak and adjust and so on and so forth. But we're now very comfortable in the settings that we're in, and there should be no need going forward for us to have to make such a transfer for a very, very long time. And like I said, if we ever do, we now have a procedure that we're going to use to ensure that if the world does get corrupted by it, we'll be able to immediately detect it, and we'll be able to replace it with a good backup folder. And that's the third thing. The third thing is this. We now understand the problem. We know what causes it. We know how to detect it. And so should we ever run into world file corruption ever again, we are now experts on this topic, and we will be able to detect it immediately and we'll know exactly what to do to fix it. So this problem will never, ever, ever occur ever again. So anyway, so now that all the good news is on the table, it's not all sunshine and lollipops. There are some flaws, okay? Most of them are pretty mild, but you will discover a few things. So the first thing is this. The world, all the builds were brought over by World Edit. And for those of you who have never used World Edit, it's a great program. As you can see looking at the spawn here, it copies everything pretty well. But it's not a flawless program. It does have some flaws, okay? There are certain things that it does not copy perfectly. One of them is signs. So although it does copy signs, it won't get every single one of them. So you might find a few missing signs around your town, okay? For those, we're going to ask for the little things that you just replace them. You also might find that some of the lighting is a little bit off. You might have to reset some of the lights. You might find that some of your torches are missing throughout your town. This is normal. During the initial process, when we turned off the server, we had to do many restarts. So you may find that some of your stuff has been rolled back. And this is because we weren't able to immediately transfer the builds. And we had to do a lot of restarts in between. And so those restarts, these are restarts that had occurred on the old map, the one that wasn't fixed yet. Those may have caused some rollback. Okay, so you may discover some new rollback when you first log in. The good news is that there won't be any more rollback going forward. Okay. On top of that, you may find that there were some builds that maybe we forgot to transfer. We will replace those. There's going to be a new thread open for any builds that you still want transferred over. We will still be transferring builds for a long time to come. So if there's anything that we missed, you'll still be able to claim it. There'll be a new thread for that. So look for that in the forums and be sure to list anything there that you haven't gotten yet. Aside from that, you'll notice that your inventory will be cleared. This is because your personal inventory is actually saved. In fact, all your character data as far as your location and your items in your inventory, that's all saved in the world files. So since we have a new world file, you'll find that your inventory, your achievements, and your player's location, that stuff is all going to be missing, okay? We will replace your items. So don't think that your items are gone for good. I'm going to say this 2 more times to just beat it in your head. Your items are not gone for good. We will replace them. Simply file a ticket and we will replace your items, okay? We don't care what you had. We'll make sure they get replaced, okay? And really, that's pretty much the full extent of it. There's one last thing. We may have to reset quick shops. Some of your quick shops might not work, so we're going to debate that tonight. We'll see how many of them are working and how many aren't working. So some of your quick shops you may have to set the shop up again. Your items will still be in your chests. Your items are still in the quick shops. All that is good. However, you may have to set the shop up again. Okay, so no need to freak out. And that's something that we will ask that you do yourself. The little things in general, we are going to ask that you help us do. We can't do every little thing for everyone. We just don't have the resources for that. But if there's any big thing that you're missing, if there's anything significant, we will absolutely make up for it. We'll absolutely get you your stuff back. And so, anyway, again, in recap, the rollback issue is finally fixed. Now we're going to have to go through a phase that probably lasts about a week or 2 where we're going to have to sort of rebuild the little things, not the big things, but just the little things. We're going to have to kind of iron out the kinks, okay? But in the end, we're going to be, very, very close to being able to return to gameplay as usual. We'll be able to play without rolling back, and we'll be able to enjoy ourselves just as we used to before this was ever an issue. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate your time, and I hope you guys enjoy playing the game now free from rollbacks. So take care.